Do you know who Shelby Foote is?
I do not.
Shelby Foote. Okay.
No.
Shelby Foote wrote the book on the 20th century. And there's this part where he talks about, he says, the reason that the Civil War started is because we lost the ability to compromise. Because America is built on compromise. Benjamin Franklin was supposed to write the Declaration of Independence. Okay? The entire Continental Congress wanted Ben Franklin to write it. Because he was Ben Franklin. He was Dr. Franklin. He wrote everything. Ben Franklin, by the time the Declaration of Independence was written, had been writing newspapers for like 50 years. He literally started his first newspaper when he was like 9. Okay? He'd written almanacs. The man wrote a book that standardized the way that we spelled words. And Oxford listened to him about how to spell words. That's who Ben Franklin was. He was a living goddamn legend. And the Continental Congress wanted him to write it. And he said, no, this kid's going to write it. This 34-year-old lawyer from Virginia is going to write it. And Thomas Jefferson's like, I'm not anybody. And Benjamin Franklin was like, well, this is going to make you somebody. Thomas Jefferson sat in a room with no air conditioning because it didn't exist for 6 days, sweating his ass off. By the way, his child had died at home. He didn't know. And wrote the Declaration of Independence, took it back to the Continental Congress, and it was changed 82 times. 82 times it was changed. But it was changed, and at the end of the day, everybody voted for it. That is the spirit of how this country started. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson hated one another for their entire lives until they were both like 77. And John Adams wrote Thomas Jefferson a letter and said, hey, listen, you and I need to exchange letters back and forth because we're both going to be dead in a few years. But we need to write letters back and forth so that the rest of American history can see how the two founders that disagreed the most and hated each other the most feel about stuff. And Thomas Jefferson wrote him a letter back and said, that's a great idea. Let's do that. And they exchanged letters for years and they hated each other. Guys, when Thomas Jefferson beat John Adams in the 1800 election, Thomas Jefferson called it the Revolution of 1800. That's how much he hated John Adams. But he sat down and wrote letters to the man and listened to him and debated with him like a fucking human being. That's the spirit that we've lost. And the day that Trump was nominated was the day that I realized it. I should have realized it before then. I didn't, but now I know that if you replace Joe Biden and Donald Trump with Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, they would not be exchanging letters to each other about their feelings on politics. That is what we've lost. Our only hope in this country is to regain it. If we don't, it's not just a civil war that's coming. Abraham Lincoln in 1858 gave a speech. It's the House, a house divided must not fall speech. What he said in that speech was, there is no army in Asia or Europe that could invade this nation and take a drink from the Ohio River. The only way this nation falls is from within. And it almost did. And it's either going to again, or it's not. And we can either listen to each other and try to work together, or we're fucking dead because we're gonna kill each other.